Half. Really no issue. Extend the win streak. How many times did they beat Vanderbilt in a row?
11. So that ties the longest streak in the series history.
Man, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Will, so what did you see from Tennessee this week? Stackhouse called them the best team in the SEC. I cannot wait for Bama. It stinks that we still have, a month before Tennessee-Bama actually happens. I think we're around then. So I was telling folks, I'm like, I don't think Tennessee's going to be challenged until that Mizzou-Bama week. I think that's the next time Tennessee is going to be pushed in a significant way. I don't know. Are you feeling the same or not optimistic? Do you feel like this is the best point Tennessee has been all year, and do you think this is sustainable the way they're playing?
I'm kind of in the general group of the Ken Palms and the Torviks out there of eventually somebody is surely to God going to hit threes on Tennessee. You cannot allow 21% for a full season. But I think the general basis of can Tennessee continue to look frankly, they've started to look like a top, 20-ish offense to go with the really good defense. Is that aspect of it sustainable? I think yes. So there's a path to them, not falling off, but regressing to the field defensively and kind of battling it out with Houston for number 1 years in. But at the same time, there's a real path to them, moving into the top 20 offensively, continuing to progress in a good direction. They really have had in fact, I would say arguably 4 of their best performances of the entire season offensively in the last 5 games. I thought about not including Austin Peay, but I mean, right now on Torvik's site, Austin Peay is 9 spots ahead of South Carolina, so might as well include both, right? But you look so good against Mississippi State, and that shooting inflated, but you come out of that Vanderbilt game, and Vandy got Tennessee a few times at the rim. I think Tennessee, like you said, played with their foot a little bit, kind of had the controller off, weren't really interested for a while. Definitely looking ahead to Kentucky. I think that goes without saying. That just means so much to the program. But for it to do all that, and it's still you owned the boards, you shot really well from 2 again, continued to shoot all right from 3. It just seems like everything Tennessee's doing on that side of the ball is moving in a positive direction. And it seems like they're trending upwards in a way that's sustainable, in a way that's really good. I mean, we've really got to come to terms with the thought that it's insane to say this, right? But they really could be, if they cover the spread against Kentucky, it sickens me to say that phrase, they will be number 1 in Ken Palm on Sunday. If they beat Kentucky by 14 or more, they will be number 1 because of Houston's close win against South Florida. And that is just an insane thing to ponder because 1, the polls haven't caught up yet. And 2, you have to come to terms with the idea that this Tennessee team really might be the one to, erase all the bad March feelings.
Are we sure Tyreke Key's good?
My hot take is that he's the least effective player in the rotation, but I like having him out there because he is a very good shooter.
Yeah, he's shooting, 36% from 3. He's shot pretty well, 40% night, a couple nights out of this group. He shot, 2 of 4 Wednesday night or Tuesday night. They all blend together. He
is, Tyreke is good, but Tyreke is very obviously not a defensive first guy, I would say. He of all of Tennessee's main rotation guys, he is the most prone to get lost in a switch or in a rotation. The only other competition he's got would be Awaka, and that's just because Awaka's young and thin. He's thick, but he's not versatile yet.
Toby Awaka getting rebounds is cooler than anything else that your team does.
Yeah. And so Key is kind of just a shooter at this point, which is sad because when he was at Indiana State, he was this ball-dominant guy who would take 500 mid-range twos.
Yes. You watch those highlights. He doesn't do any of that for Tennessee.
And so, but I think that side of him could still reemerge. That guy, he's shooting 16% on mid-range twos right now. That's not going to hold, given his past. So I think his best contributions are still ahead of him. Tennessee will need him at some point.
I think they're going to need him in March. He just feels like someone that you hope is his best stuff. It comes in March.
Tyreke Key definitely feels like the guy on a 1 seed who's like the 7th man or whatever that no one but the 1 seed's fans know of, and then it's like, oh my god, this guy just hit 5 threes to make it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of his status within Tennessee hoops, where it's like he's taken a clear step down in role, but he's still important to the team's fortunes.
What do you think is the starting 5 come SEC tournament time?
Barnes really freaking loves playing a true center. So
I don't think it's going to be Euros for much longer. I think Adu is getting to the point.
Adu is already better, straight up. So I think that's kind of where we're getting. And the thing with the starting lineup is like, it doesn't really matter much because Adu already plays more.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think Zeigler's going to continue to come off the bench as long as Tennessee is okay with it. So the starting lineup,
Rick Barnes is roaming the sidelines. That man has like PTSD from the Colorado game that he'll never get over for Zeigler. Like Ziegler's never starting another game for Tennessee, barring injury.
But it could just be a thing that he likes too. Like, I mean, if he's really prefers coming off the bench and he thinks it's like the Tari Eason thing last year, right? We were all like really confused. Like, why does LSU bring Tari Eason off the bench? And come to find out, it's like he asked to do it. He prefers that. So it just,
is okay.
It works for some guys. But either way, your starting lineup's probably Tyreke Key, Vescovy, Triple J, Phillips, Kamwa, I think. He might progress to a point where it's like they don't really need to start either Idu or Plavsic when they're just going to play him a lot anyway.
I just don't see Barnes ever doing that.
So who do you think goes? Because Kamwa's playing so well at this point.
Kamwa's in there. Like, you can't pull him. Yeah. Like, he is in there.
You can't really pull Phillips. You can't pull Vescovy, obviously.
It's Triple J.
It is probably Triple J. So it's probably Key, Vescovy, Julian, Kamwa, and Idu, I would say.
I think it's Idu.
Triple J is 6-man.
Yeah, that's what I would
Triple
guess.
G and Zeigler's coast 6-man, I would argue.
But then, you know what's even more complicated? What's the best closing 5 for this group when they're all healthy? Like, someone's going to be pissed. Because
my closing 5 is the exact same as it was day one.
Okay.
Which is actually a little surprising, but I've seen enough to feel pretty good about this. Zeigler, Vescovy, Triple J, Phillips, Kamwa. That's your best 5 finishing out a game. Outside chance of, like, if you really need a stop, I would rather have Idu in there than Kamwa. Just because I trust his build a bit more. And obviously Meshack is always going to be on the radar here. But offensively and just overall, I think that's your 5. It's Zeigler, Vescovy, Phillips, Triple J, they split 3 and 4, and then Kamwa at center to finish it out. And that kind of seems like Tennessee's most versatile offensive look in general, because all 5 of those guys can and will shoot.
Yeah. Will, stat of the week. What is it?
I have actually a good one. I was not anticipating having anything interesting aside from trying to scrounge up something Kentucky related. But here's my stat of the week. So there's 2 guys right now averaging 20 and 10 in college basketball. One is extremely obvious. It's Zach Edey of Purdue. He's at 22 and 13, which is hilarious. Can you name the other player who's averaging 20 and 10?
The other player averaging 20 and 10 right now. Let me think for a second. We're not talking 20 and 10 assists, right? It has to be
10 rebounds.
10 rebounds.
Okay, so I was going to look and see if there's anybody averaging double-digit assists, but Yuri Collins at St. Louis says.
Okay.